Hello, World of Tank Blitzers, it's Littlefinger with a full tank review. This time we're taking a look at the VK100.01P. This is a new German heavy as of update 5.5 yesterday at tier 8. And quite honestly, there's no other tank at tier 8 like this, and we'll get to that in 1 second. Here is the VK100.01P in the garage. Two of the glaring weaknesses of this tank are the giant commander's hatch on top and the lower plate in the middle of those ginormous tracks. I'm going to preface this entire review by stating I am openly against super heavy, non-mobile tanks. But after upgrading the stock gun on this and equipping my crew to 100%, I really enjoyed playing this tank. Let's take a quick look at the tech tree. You can see from the Tiger P, we have now broken off into two heavy lines that are going to take you down the VK100, the Maushan, and the Mouse. Both of those tier 8 and tier 9 are new tanks as part of 5.5. And I love this move by Wargaming because if you start to learn to drive this VK tank well, you are going to be an ace in the Mouse. I think it's just teaching you how to play this tank perfectly. And then obviously the other line is the 4502A, B, and then the VK7201K. That joining line will go off on the next line. It just gives people that have researched the 4502B a chance to get to the Mouse, but that will get taken away. Back to how I have the tank set up, consumables. I'm running repair kit, multi-purpose, and adrenaline, and this is just my preference. I could see a strong recommendation for an engine power boost on this thing to drive you up some of those steep hills on some of these maps, because at 20 kilometers per hour, this tank is definitely slow. Provisions, I'm running chocolate, protective kit, improved fuel, ammunition, 32 rounds AP, 12 rounds APCR, and 6 rounds of HE. Keep in mind, always buy your APCR, your Pramo, with the shell price using credits. Equipment. Now, the first one is up to debate for me between the gun rammer and the calibrated shells. Obviously, you've got a very long reload in this tank. What I liked about the calibrated shells, you can see here, I rarely had to use APCR, but it also gives me 7 extra damage, 7 extra mil of pen to get my HE up to 72. Your damage on an HE shot is 600, so if you can get that to pen, you're doing a nice amount of damage there. Running defense system, improved optics, enhanced gun lane drive to get that aim time down. You're really not going to be sniping. You don't really need to worry about your shell velocity in this tank. You're going to be up front taking damage or deflecting damage, more like it. I'm running the enhanced armor because we've got over 200 mil of pen all around the front of this tank. So we'll get another 4% onto that. Is really good. Engine accelerator and vertical stabilizer. I will probably end up adding enhanced tracks to this just because you get tracked all the time in it. And then really the consumable delivery system versus high-end consumable is how you set up your consumables. So stepping into the tank upgrades, you'll see that the tank comes stock with a 10.5 centimeter L52. It's only got 210 of pen. I don't know if it was the combination or just the gun. That I had 75% crew. I just really struggled my first 5 games in this tank, so I ended up spending the 49,000, yes, 49,000 free experience to upgrade the gun. So that's kind of a steep price to have a competitive tank. But once I did, that's when I really started to enjoy this tank a lot better. I don't know if that's a combination of also having upgraded my crew to 100%. But you can see now at close to 20 battles, I've only got 16,000 experience points in the tank. So I will go ahead and get that engine once I've reached the 22,000 needed for it. But again, one of the downsides to this tank is having to drop that free experience. Well, if there's any tank that deserves looking at Armor Inspector, it is definitely the VK100.01P. You can see it here. I've got it up against a E75, which is obviously a Tier 9 heavy. We'll turn on calibrated shells, and from the front, you can see those two weak spots. The lower plate, 160 mil, and then your top hatch at 208. So you really have to angle this steeply in order to get that lower plate to go into the red. Once you do that, obviously your whole side has gone green. So out in the open, it's really difficult to protect that front plate, but you can wiggle side to side and make that a little bit more difficult to hit. And then obviously you can face hug and hope that the tank you're up against doesn't have the gun depression to get down into that lower plate there. If we switch this over to X-ray, and I just think this is pretty amazing here. You've got 200 mils on the front, but the effective armor on that is 333. Even on the side cheeks there, 170, but the effective armor is 494. I mean, this tank is a beast. You know, if you get off center on the hatch just a little bit, 327. So you really got to protect that lower plate. Minus 8 degrees on the gun depression, if I haven't said that already. But just really a great side scraping, just bully of a tank. So here's Blitz stars, and there's really no comparison to this tank, but I just wanted to point out a few things. Obviously I've got the VK on the left, and then the VK next to it is with the 10.5 centimeter gun. You can see such a huge drop in your damage per minute, and even 20% reduction or 10% reduction in your pen, down to 200 there. The tank doesn't fare well as far as looking at these other tanks, and I've got the M46 Mutant, both of those premium tanks, the IS-3 and the Tiger II, are basically the most comparable tanks I could find, and they're really not even. But anyway, at 460 alpha, you know, you're got the most damage per shot, obviously the slowest rate of fire, longest reload. But you know, just want to take a quick look here at the aim time, 2.45. Hey, it's okay. Your dispersion at 0.38 is the worst of all of these, but again, you're going to be close up front, so you don't really have to worry about long distance aiming. Even moving down here into movement and mobility, 20 kilometers per hour. These other tanks are almost twice as fast, in 38 for the IS-3, the Tiger II. So again, we move on down to miscellaneous and extras. Hull armor 200, turret armor 230, and I showed you in the armor inspector the effective armor on this tank is through the roof, and that's your upside to the tank, right? You get up close, you learn to side scrape, you learn to protect that lower plate, and you can have some really fun games in this tank. Alright guys, here is the first game I wanted to show, Fort Despair, Supremacy game, and yeah, quite obviously I'm going to go C, go heavy alley, and part of the reason I wanted to point out this game here is just to get you in the habit of learning how to protect that lower plate. And it can be difficult because, you know, if you need to move out to take a shot, you've pretty much exposed your front plate. This AMX 1375, I don't know what he was thinking, but he figured that he was just gonna rush C maybe. Don't have time to switch over to HE, so we just roll a 500 on the first AP shot. And now you can see what I'm trying to do here is just protect that lower plate in those rocks. But that Lova there just does a great job in this game of being able to pen me. We missed that shot. But again, with the IS-5 pushing forward, you can see I'm just trying to get that lower plate right into the rocks there, and we bounced that first shot. Gravedigger, no regard for how to use his armor. And this IS-5, I should have given him a thumbs up because he had a great game here, and I didn't realize how good of a game he had until after I went back and looked at this replay. But what I want to point out with his play is just look at how close we are, and yet he's not really bothering me at all. You can see he's side scraping off of me, and he sees the IS-5 take a shot. We both fold forward, we both get shots in, and then we back up. And he's not impeding my progress of backing up. He's just doing a great job of getting shots in. He sees that the love there is pointed at me. Unfortunately, he gets turned, and I go to shoot the side cheek there, but obviously it doesn't pen. Now I'm just going to leave him for the IS-5 that was behind me and not even worry about him. And we're going to go in and finish off the SU. Now, look at this VK over here, out in the open. And when I zoom in, just look at how much red there is everywhere on this tank. I'm going to switch over to APCR. But again, it's just that lower plate that really looks penetrable. But he's out in the open. He can't protect himself, so he's going to go down quickly. And then I get quite a lucky shot in here. Just I don't know how that went around the rock, but we'll take it. 2,800 damage, 1,700 blocked, and you're going to see that as being a theme in these games, is just how much damage you can block with this tank. And that's what you need to do. You need to be on the front. You need to be a distraction and let your teammates do damage as well. Second game here, we are on Mayan Ruins, again top tier, and one of the great things about this tank is having the ability to get into positions of side scraping. So towns are your friend, side of these buildings here are your friends, rocks, anything that you can side scrape off of really is what you're looking to stay close to. Don't get caught out in the field like that other VK that we saw in that last game. And so I'm going to start angling in here towards whatever you want to call this Mayan Ruin thing here. And we get a few tanks pop around the corner there, and I was out of position, so back up and just start angling a little bit better. Now look at this Tiger P here. I mean, no regard to how his armor works at all. Switch over to HE on the SP1C, and not sure why I didn't pen. Only 220, and now Tiger P's gone, and oh my god, his gun could not be in a worse position for me. Yeah, trying to get around that, go a little bit too low there on the Tiger. And our VK's not much longer for this game either. They can just shoot that lower plate. And I can't get any shots in around that damn gun that's sticking out in front of me. So the team's folding, basically. Not knowing how to play this heavy alley very well. But it does give me the opportunity to show you how you can do some serious block damage just by angling this tank here. So we're up to 550 already. Take a couple more. Get the tracks destroyed, so we're gonna fix that. I'm just farming damage at this point, so we're gonna take the easiest target and get rid of a tank. But I'm getting pushed now from my left, and just trying not to keep the front plate pointed at anyone that might be shooting at me. So when I think the IS-3 defender's gonna shoot, I turn. When I think the other guy's shooting, I turn. And you gotta turn 45, 50 degrees on it. But you can see here, yeah, I shouldn't have tried to shoot this side cheek there on the IS-3. Should have gone for the top hatch. But, you know, this game's pretty much over. But yeah, so we're going to block nearly 4K in damage. Not much help from the team, but you know, we did 2K in damage. We did our share to help win this game. Just our team folded way too early. I'll stop it there. Not much point watching the Mod 1 get destroyed. So here's another game on Dead Rail, also Supremacy. They've got 4 heavies to our 3 heavies, and you know, I know they're going A. Looks like our ISs are going A, but then they turn and go B. So instead of getting caught out in the open in a lot of trouble, I make the decision here to come back towards B and basically use this rock as my cover from anyone coming around A. And I really think that makes a world of difference in this game, just because I'm keeping anyone at A from easily pushing around the side. The nice thing about this tank is the -8 degrees of gun depression, so we can get a shot in on the Tiger. We're blocking shots from the T-49 there, and we get the WZ here trying to push around. Just keeping an eye on everything, not worried about being too aggressive at this point in time. We're just playing defense, really. We've got 2 caps. Just want to keep these guys from advancing too much. Now, our AMX CDC had gone to the sniper alley over there and spotted up that T-49 for me, so we can shoot a nice HE roll into his back and do 600 damage. So we've now got a 2-tank advantage and a 2-base advantage, so not as much worried about my hit points. The T-28 is turned sideways to me, so I'm going to just roll up on this hill here, get a nice shot in there, and again, back away, just trying to keep that lower plate hidden behind this hill. And they're just in a world of hurt at this point in time. Going to take a gun out, even though it's only 37 hit points. It's a smart play to get the kills. And really, you know, at this point in time, it's just a matter of cleaning up. It was a well-played game by our team. But I think being in the position I was in, you know, kept them from being able to push up too fast. So now it's just this VK. And again, a lot of red, but we can get in definitely into the side of the turret there. One last shot in, and it's going to be the kill shot. 340, so we do 2675 damage. And when you're doing 400 at a time, I mean, that's only, what, 6 shots, 7 shots? So, you know, it's easy to rack up the damage. I think over my 18 games, I'm at 1,800 and change for my average per game. And that was with 5 really poor games with that stock gun. All right, this game is actually bottom tier Supremacy on Vineyards. And I'd had a game previously on Vineyards where I went over the bridge towards C. They had a very aggressive AMX CDC and probably one other tank. And I got lit up before I even made it to the bridge. So I'm seeing a couple of our guys go to bridge. I'm seeing the TDs go out wide, staying on the back of the map like they should. And our RU obviously has gone in and got B. So I'm thinking, you know, they're going to want, these TDs are going to want a tank that can push up into A and get spots for them. So that's why I decided not to go into town. We've got 2 heavies in there. I'm hoping that they can just hold for long enough while we clear these tanks at A. So here's SU. We'll get a shot as he's dropping off the hill. He turns and fires and completely misses. He's going to turn and run. He doesn't know that he's got 2 TDs back here. And so he's not going to last too much longer. And then I'm just going to keep on pushing forward. And here is why you don't want to be a sniper in this tank, trying to shoot a fast tank like that AMX. And so at this point in time, I'm hoping that the RU is going to come in and get A, and I can push on into the middle of the map and get shots down in on C. We'll stop, make sure we've aimed in, and take our shot on the VK. It's still a close game. It's one-on-one basically, and we've got our other heavy that's in town that's getting in trouble. So they finally did push on the heavies, but we've got 2 caps to their 0 caps at this point in time. So we can play defensive and just protect B and A, and we should win out this game. But we all want hit points, right? We all want kills, so just trying to figure out how we can get down in onto C and get some shots in. See, that VK is only on 40 hit points. We'll switch over to HE, snap one in there, just enough to finish him off. So now I'm in a position where I need to push forward, use my hit points, and try to keep some of my teammates alive. Unfortunately, I'm not fast enough to save that IS-6, who was just to my right, got taken out by that Waffentragen over there. AMX is going to take a brave move here, trying to get up to B. And we're not going to have any of that. And you can see, I mean, it is just difficult to pen this tank unless you're face to face with it and able to shoot that lower plate. Now granted, 20 kilometers an hour can be a little bit painful. We've just now capped out, get one last shot into the RHM. And we still did 2,400 damage, and they still had several tanks alive, so we could have probably farmed out some more damage in that game. The Object 704 had a great game too. Love that tank. Anyway, so yeah, you know, it's just a damage machine, really. All right, so I'm going to leave you with this game on Dynasty Pearl as bottom tier. And obviously, I'd really like to go heavy alley, use my side scraping abilities. But the team call is to go right. And, you know, except for that last game on Vineyards where I saw everybody already splitting TDs, I went to go help and make sure they stayed in the game. I am going to push right here. And to me, this is the downside of heavy tanks that are 20 kilometers per hour as a max speed. Team rushes in. Team doesn't do enough damage. And heavy is left at the back of the pack to fend off, you know, tanks shooting at it from all different angles. They've got a VK up here right on the corner that is doing a great job angling. And, you know, maybe at this point in time I should have just pushed up into B and tried to use my armor. But it's right now that I notice, you know, we've got tanks to the left of us. We got 2 of them, as a matter of fact. And a tier 9 Waffentragen going up against 2 tanks, one of them being an AMX CDC. It's just it's just not how you're supposed to play that tank. That was dumb on my part. I probably should have just stayed with AP, and I would have been able to finish him off. So yeah, you know, we got some errors around here. Bad decisions. And so now we've got a T-69. We're down a tank. I'm not going to go chase him, that's for sure. But I am going to try to get back into the game and get my gun active again. Hoping that he pops around the corner, but he doesn't. And so, you know, you can see all of my tanks are low health. So really now it's just a matter of time. It's just the two of us left. We're gonna get surrounded here in a second, and we're going up against the tier 9 TD with an enormous rate of fire. Just one of the best TDs at the tier. And you know, this is when T69 comes from behind. They've got a Malshin already and a VK. And you can see it looked like I should be able to pen in that front right side of the tank, but nope. And now I'm out in the open. Easy to pen that front. Just can't get away. You know, we only do 2,000 damage in there because we weren't able to get into the middle of the battle, and we were playing more of a mobile game, which we don't have that in our arsenal. We just need to get up front. You need to get side scraping and do the business, really. But what I really love about this is now it's added a completely different type of gameplay that's not in tier 8 at this time, and teaches you, or starts to teach you, the fundamental mechanics of playing that mouse really well. So hopefully by the time you grind your way up there, you're going to be an expert in that tank and play it to perfection. So with that, guys, hopefully you've learned a few tips on how to play the tank a little bit better. I'm certainly no expert. I'm not a fan of these slow-moving heavies, but I did enjoy a lot of those games, dishing out as much damage as this tank can do. And I'm going to keep on playing it, and we're going to grind our way up to the mouse there. And as always, guys, have fun out there. Stay safe. Get educated, not fingered. Littlefinger out.